News and DD India, news and updates from India and the world, and from the world of business and sports, and time permitting also from the world of art and culture. Let's first begin with the big news at this hour. The Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan addresses the 29th meeting of the group of ministers and says that there is a continuous decrease in the daily cases of COVID-19. He adds that the government is fully vigilant on the Delta Plus variant of the coronavirus and is closely monitoring the cases registered in 12 states. India overtakes the US in the total number of COVID vaccine doses administered with 32.36 crore doses. The active caseload has further declined to about 5,72,000. The recovery rate increases to 96.8%. 46,148 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. The Prime Minister says that our commitment remains vaccines for all, free for all. Alert troops thwart two separate drone activities spotted late night on Sunday over Ratnachuk-Kaluchak military area. The quick reaction teams, they engaged with them with firing after high alert was sounded. Search operation continues. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh inaugurates 63 infrastructure projects constructed by the Border Roads Organization in Ladakh. Appreciates the role of the BRO in connecting many areas of the country. The Raksha Mantri also interacts with troops deployed. The DRDO has successfully flight tested the new generation Agni P ballistic missile from the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam island off the coast of Balasore in Odisha. It is a canisterized missile with a range capability of 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers. The US carries out airstrikes against Iran-backed militia in Iraq. Syria. The move comes in response to drone attacks by the militia against the US personnel and facilities in Iraq. In UEFA Euro 2020 today, Spain to face Croatia in the round of 16. France will play against Switzerland. Well, first up, the big story. Well, India's vaccination drive is gaining greater momentum. India has achieved another significant milestone in COVID-19 vaccinations, having overtaken the United States in the total number of vaccines administered for COVID so far. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated all those who are driving this effort. He stressed that the government's commitment remains vaccines for all, free for all. 32.26 crore vaccine doses have been administered thus far under this nationwide vaccination drive, and of these, more than 17.21 lakh people were vaccinated in the last 24 hours. The Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, today chaired the 29th meeting of the group of ministers on COVID, and addressing the ministers, Dr. Harshvardhan said that the recovery rate has increased to 96.8%, and he added that at 32.36 crore, India has surpassed the United States in terms of cumulative COVID vaccine doses administered. India's COVID vaccination drive started on the 16th of January 2021, whereas the COVID vaccinations in the US started on the 14th of December 2020.
In US, they had started their vaccination on 14th of December, and in India we had started it on 16th of January. And today, US has been able to vaccinate or give doses to 32 crore 33 lakh 27 6,328. So today we have overtaken US in COVID vaccination. Similarly, obviously, of course, we are far more in numbers of doses given to our people as compared to UK, Italy, Germany or France.
The Union Health Minister today termed the Delta Plus variant of the COVID as a variant of concern, and he said that as a precaution, special surveillance is being undertaken in districts across 12 states where this has been found.
Delta Plus is also a variant of concern as it is a sub-lineage of the Delta variant. Scientists are right now studying its impact on disease transmission, severity, immune escape and other public health effects. It has also been cultured in the labs and its effect on vaccines is also being studied right now. As a matter of abundant precaution, special surveillance is being carried out in the districts of the 12 states where the Delta Plus has been detected.
The All India Institute of Medical Sciences' Delhi Director Dr. Randeep Guleria today said that a robust healthcare system can help improve public health. He was speaking at the virtual second Public Health Summit, which was organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry. Dr. Guleria underscored the need to increase investment, the use of technology in the public health sector.
Budget that they provide as far as health is concerned. What COVID-19 has shown us is that we need a robust healthcare system. What are the challenges that we have in front of us, which I think we need to address? One is, of course, like I've already mentioned, underinvestment as far as health is concerned. And this has been one of the biggest challenges during the pandemic that we need to address. The second important issue that I'd like to touch upon, and I think this is very important, because this is where we need to move ahead, keeping the future in mind, is that healthcare, public health system should be driven by technology and data. And this should help us in making evidence-based decisions.
And speaking about data, well, the CEO of the National Health Authority and the chief of the CoWIN platform, Dr. R.S. Sharma, also participated in this virtual summit, and he said that the CoWIN platform has grown to about 3,000 million plus registrations and vaccinations. He added that the app safely keeps and consolidates the data of vaccinated individuals.
CoWIN platform, which has been deployed in the country and which today actually has become an extremely scalable platform. In about 5 months' time, it was launched on 16th of January when the Honorable Prime Minister had launched this program. In 5 months' time, it has grown to 300 million plus. There are 300 million plus registrations and vaccinations, and their granularity is each individual. So basically, now this platform keeps an account of each individual. When was he vaccinated the first time, which vaccine was administered to him, what was the adverse impact, if any, which the person had experienced, what is the vaccine type, who vaccinated him, everything is there. And then of course a continuous follow-up for him to basically remind him about the second dose of vaccination. That's really something very, very unique in the world.
The Indian Council of Medical Research data shows 40 crore 63 lakh 71,279 samples have been tested so far in the country. That is including 15 lakh 70,515 samples tested yesterday. Dr. Reddy's lab today announced the commercial launch of 2-deoxy-D-glucose, that's 2DG. So Dr. Reddy's will be supplying this mostly to government as well as private hospitals across the country. And in the initial weeks, the company will make the drug available in hospitals across metros and tier 1 cities. Subsequently, it will expand its coverage to the rest of the country. 2-deoxy-D-glucose, that's 2DG. It's manufactured by Dr. Reddy's and it has a purity of 99.5%. It's being sold commercially under the brand name of 2DG-TM. Each sachet has an MRP which is fixed at 990 rupees. Subsidized rates have been offered to the government institutions. Inquiries for 2DG-TM can be sent directly to 2dg@drreddy's.com. 2DG is an oral drug and it can be administered only upon the prescription of a doctor of concern. And also this is under the supervision of a qualified physician to hospitalized moderate as well as severe COVID-19 patients as an adjunct therapy. This is an adjunct therapy to the existing standard of care. The emergency use approval for this anti-COVID-19 therapeutic application of this drug, it was granted on the 1st of May this year. The national capital, Delhi, has now further opened up after a COVID-19 induced closure. So gyms and yoga institutes have reopened and they have only been allowed 50% capacity. The government has also extended a cap on the number of guests in marriages, so they've increased that from 20 to 50. Schools, colleges and other educational institutions will remain closed. Religious, social and political and cultural activities are still prohibited. Cinema halls, theatres, multiplexes, entertainment parks, spas, assembly halls, auditoriums all remain closed. These restrictions remain in force till the 5th of July. Maharashtra has so far reported 21 cases of COVID-19 Delta Plus variant. So amid this, the state has revised its lockdown guidelines and has removed certain relaxations from today. The Union Health Ministry had sent a letter to the Maharashtra government to take immediate measures to restrict the spread of this new variant. Now, under the new guidelines, malls and theatres shall remain closed. Mumbai local services are allowed for essential services of employees, and essential service employees that is, and shops selling essential items can remain open up to 4 p.m. on all days. Shops selling non-essentials, they shall remain open only on weekdays, and this is until 4 p.m. The public transport shall operate with only a seating capacity, and restaurants shall remain open only up to 4 p.m. and only takeaways will be allowed post that permissible time of 4 p.m. Now, the government offices will operate with 50% capacity. Private offices are allowed to function. 4 p.m. is the time limit. Now, Section 144 is applicable in all places, and a gathering of 5 or more people are banned. So, meanwhile, 3,11,59,607 vaccination doses were administered in Maharashtra till yesterday. Until yesterday, that's the total until yesterday. So the lockdown restrictions in the state were gradually relaxed from the first week of June, and this is after there was a decline in active cases. People have started moving out of their houses, and there were crowds on the roads. In fact, the state had started to report cases of the mutant virus. So to contain the spread, the government has decided to once again make these guidelines stringent in Maharashtra. Shishir is now joining us with more on this story from Mumbai. Well, Shishir, a stitch in time obviously saves 9, and now we can see that the new variant is taking hold, but the government is, bringing in timely restrictions at this time. How's it going? How well is it going down with the people?
Well, absolutely, Mark. If you look at these numbers here, the numbers were quite on a declining trend here, and that's the reason. Since the first week of June, Maharashtra has started giving some relaxation to the lockdown here. But now, just a week back, we have seen here that the Delta Plus variant presence in Maharashtra, and that's the reason we have seen here that one death also happened in Maharashtra due to Delta Plus variant. As a precautionary step, now the Maharashtra government have taken stringent action. Many of the curbs, the unlock procedure have been curbs here. The government have already given restrictions here as far as the numbers are concerned, especially the working operations are concerned of the hotels and the other important offices also. At this point in time, if you look at the entire picture here, the Maharashtra was divided into 5 levels, keeping in mind the oxygen availability bed and also the positivity rate. As far as, for example, if you take Mumbai, the Mumbai has the positivity rate of almost 3.5%, which is well below 5%. And of course, the oxygen bed occupancy was almost 20%. So if you look at this number, Mumbai was supposed to be in a level 1 category. But now, as the government have taken a precautionary steps here, the state government have decided to put all the district into level 3 category. That means the operations of the hotels and the other restaurants will limit it till only 4 p.m. With the 50% capacity. Now the multiplexes and the multiplexes and the malls have been closed down completely. Gym and saloon are allowed to work with 50% capacity with the limited time frame which have been given. At the same time, even the Mumbai's local train have not been opened up for everyone. Only people working for essential services can use Mumbai local trains. So obviously these are the important restrictions that state government have put in place, because they've also received a letter from the center looking at the entire situation and especially the possibility of third wave, because the task force in Maharashtra have already predicted that the possibility of third wave, and that's the reason Maharashtra government need to take care of it. They have taken various measures here. Now these curbs is also in line with what the task force have said and what the center have said. And ultimately we've also seen that the Delta Plus variant have found in various places in Maharashtra. Nearly 21 patients have been found positive under Delta 1 variants here. And that's the reason these entire restrictions the state government have taken. Now of course how long the state government will go with these restrictions is not clear yet. But obviously the traders on the other hand is not quite happy with it. Traders from Kolhapur today morning have agitated and some places here, but the government have stated that this restrictions that they imposed is for the well-being of the people here.
Absolutely. So we leave it there. Thank you very much, Shashir, for that comprehensive answer then. So these are precautionary measures in Maharashtra. Moving our focus now to our developing story. So in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 2 separate drone activities were spotted, and these were over Ratna Chuk and Kalu Chuk military area, and they were reported by alert troops. It happened around midnight in the intervening period of 27th and 28th June. And immediately a high alert was sounded. In fact, quick reaction teams engaged with these drones, and firing also ensued. But both the drones flew away. But a major threat, in fact, could have been thwarted and has been thwarted by the alertness of these proactive troops. The security forces are on high alert and search operations are ongoing. So drones, as we know, were spotted a day after these drones, in fact, were spotted after yesterday's twin low-intensity explosions took place at the Air Force Station in Jammu. So those explosions are suspected to have been carried out using drones with payloads of explosive material. The police have registered a case and the investigation is ongoing in this case. But besides that, Jammu police have averted a major terror attack. As we know, yesterday they recovered an improvised explosive device which was to be used to target a crowded area by an operative of the terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba. And according to the Director General of Police, the suspect also was lifted and interrogated. More suspects are likely to be picked up in this foiled IED blast attempt. Ramesh Raina is joining us with more on this. Ramesh, since we spoke to you yesterday, there seems to be a lot more activity that's picking up, more drones today, but also an IED blast potential major attack has been thwarted by alert policemen. Fill us in with the details, first with the investigations in all these 3 cases.
Good afternoon, Mark. Yesterday 2 low-intensity blasts that they shook the technical area of the Air Force Station in Jammu, and after the various security agencies teams, they were there at the technical area of the Air Force Station. They comprise the NSG, NIA, and other security agencies, J&K police, and the investigations are still being carried out. But immediately after that, J&K police DGP Dilbhag Singh issued a talk to us. He said that one LET operative has been lifted and one 6 kg IED explosive material was recovered from him, and he said that the said IED was to be used at some crowded place. So we can say that a major threat has again yesterday been thwarted by alert J&K police and security forces. And immediately and during the previous night, 2 drones were spotted hovering over military station at Kaluchak and Ratnuchak, but the quick reaction teams of army, they engaged the two drones and fired several rounds and forced them to flee away. So we can say yet that another major threat was spotted by the alertness of quick reaction teams of the army. And immediately after this, that the area was seen and a high alert has been sounded in the entire area. And the station which is situated on the Jammu Pathankot and Jammu New Delhi National Highway. So it is a busiest highway, and all the vehicles which are moving on the highway are being thoroughly checked and then allowed to move. Mark.
Yes, indeed. And if we look at the context also, Ramesh, the COVID restrictions are still in place to a large extent, and perhaps, the enemy thinks that the alertness levels also have come down as a result of that. So, but we can see clearly that the alertness levels are pretty high.
Mark, yesterday when we were talking on this issue, Army General Kulkarni was on we were talking to Army General, and he yesterday clearly told that the drones which are being used by the enemy, they are the drones which are not being picked up by the radar. He said that we have to devise some mechanism so that this new threat is thwarted by our forces. So it is a new game being played by our enemy, and you know who the enemy is. And we can these three incidents exactly they are terror. We can say it was an act by our enemy to target India, to target our military installation, which has been thwarted by our security forces, by our alert troops. But we can link it with the developments taking place in the J&K unitary. You see, just a couple of days back, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji called an all-party meet of J&K leaders.
Yes.
It was a successful meet, and what we presume here, see, right from yesterday morning, I have been talking to some people here that what is this which is happening here, and everybody is of the view that see, Pakistan is not happy with the developments taking place. It doesn't want to see that the J&K people, they should progress, they should prosper in any field. So hence these activities, these nefarious designs being carried out by our enemy.
Ramesh Raina, thank you very much for joining us from Jammu. Our correspondent Ramesh Raina filling us in with all the details. Now, in another incident, terrorists, they barged into the house of the SP of Fayaz Ahmed in Hari Parigram, Adavantipura, and they fired indiscriminately. In this terror incident, he along with his wife, daughter, received critical gunshot injuries. Later, Fayaz Ahmed, his wife and daughter, they succumbed to these injuries. The area has been cordoned off. A search operation is underway.
जैसा कि इस एरिया में मिलिटेंट का मूवमेंट रहता है, तो रात 2 टेररिस्ट आए और एरिया से लग रहा था कि एफटी है, और उन्होंने हमारे एक एसपी पर डबल फायर किया. उनकी माँ बेटी को बचाने गए, उस पर फायर किया. तीनों को हॉस्पिटल ले गया गया, बाद में शहीद हो गए. बहुत जल्दी इसको आइडेंटिफाई करके इसको न्यूट्रलाइज करेंगे. इस एरिया में जो मूवमेंट जैश मोहम्मद का है, इस लोकल एरिया में ये जैश का ही होगा.
The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, has strongly condemned the brutal terrorist attack on the SP of Fayaz Ahmed and his family in Avantipura. He tweeted and said, "This is an act of cowardice and perpetrators of violence will be brought to justice very soon. My deepest condolences to the family and martyr, and prayers for the recovery of the injured." Moving on to our National Prime segment now. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh virtually inaugurated 63 bridges in 8 states built by the Border Roads Organization today. In total, 63 bridges inaugurated today. These include Kyungam Bridge, which was dedicated to the nation by the Raksha Mantri personally. Roads and bridges are being constructed by the BRO. This is for connectivity in the Ladakh region. Addressing this event, Rajnath Singh said that the connectivity is of great importance to the development of the country. He said that the BRO's commitment towards establishing connectivity in far-flung border areas is highly commendable.
मुझे 12 सड़कों का लोकार्पण हुआ है। आज 63 ब्रिजेज और रोड इनका लोकार्पण हो रहा है, सब मिलाकर 75 यानी कि हम आजादी के 75वें वर्ष में प्रवेश कर रहे हैं। तो राडर रोड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने यह फैसला किया हम 75 ऐसे कार्यों का जिनका हमने निर्माण किया है अब इस राष्ट्र को समर्पित करेंगे।
4 bridges in Jammu and Kashmir, 11 in Ladakh, 3 in Himachal Pradesh, 6 in Uttarakhand, 8 in Sikkim, 29 in Arunachal Pradesh, 1 in Nagaland, 1 in Mizoram were inaugurated. The BRO has used modern technology to construct these bridges, and these are all class 70 bridges. Class 70 is a type of bridge. Now the tanks and heavy vehicles, they can easily pass through them without any danger. The construction of 63 bridges in 8 states, they will help the army to reach the border areas faster and will also facilitate the movement of local people besides troops. The defense minister also said that the main reasons behind making Ladakh a union territory was because of terrorism and the lack of social development there. And he said that the center has taken a number of steps to bring investment there and to ensure infrastructure reaches Ladakh.
सरकार ने 2 साल पहले एक ऐतिहासिक फैसला किया है। जम्मू कश्मीर भी यूनियन टेरिटरी बन गया, लद्दाख भी अलग से यूनियन टेरिटरी बना है। अब ये यूनियन टेरिटरी बनाने की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी? बहुत सारे कारण हो सकते हैं, लेकिन प्रमुख रूप से 2 कारण: आतंकवाद और सोशियो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट का अभाव। 2 प्रमुख चीजें। चाहे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का जितना भी असिस्टेंस मिल जाए और जिस हद तक सोशियो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए था, नहीं हो पाता। अगर न्यूनतम आवश्यकताओं के लिए लोग तरसते रहे, मैं समझता हूं कोई भी संवेदनशील सरकारी से बर्बाद नहीं कर सकती।
Rajnath Singh said Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants political processes to start in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and he added that soon the Prime Minister will talk to the people of Ladakh.
इस यूटी और जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख में हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी, अब पहले हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी की मंशा पर लोग सवाल या निशान इधर के लोग कुछ लोगों ने लगाना शुरू किया। वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट था, वेस्टेड पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट। लेकिन वो चाहते हैं कि जम्मू कश्मीर में भी पॉलिटिकल प्रोसेस प्रारंभ हो, लद्दाख में भी पॉलिटिकल प्रोसेस प्रारंभ हो, और यहां भी वो बात करने वाले हैं। जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों से उन्होंने बातचीत की है। लंबे समय तक यही स्थिति बनी रहे, ये हम लोग नहीं चाहते।
Later, the Raksha Mantri interacted with troops deployed in the region, and Rajnath Singh said that India will never forget the sacrifice of soldiers who have laid down their lives in the Galwan Valley for the country. He praised the personnel and assured them of all possible assistance from the government.
प्रतिकूल परिस्थितियों में भी जिस बहादुरी के साथ आप काम करते हैं, उसकी जितनी भी प्रशंसा की जाए वो कम है। आपको शायद एहसास नहीं होगा, आपकी प्रतिष्ठा हिंदुस्तान वासियों के नजरों में पहले के कंपैरिजन में बढ़ी है। आपके ही कारण देश की 138 करोड़ की जनता अपने त्योहार, अपने यत्न मना पाती है, क्योंकि लोग आश्वस्त हैं कि हमारे बहादुर जवानों के कारण हमारा यह देश सुरक्षित है। सरकार की तरफ से आपको मैं यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं कि आपके लिए जिस भी प्रकार के सहयोग की आवश्यकता होगी, वो सरकार अपनी तरफ से तैयार है।
Well, the Defense Research and Development Organization successfully flight tested a new generation nuclear-capable ballistic missile, which is called Agni P. They did so from the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island at 10:55 in the morning, and this is off the coast of Balasore in Odisha. Various telemetry and radar stations along the eastern coast, they tracked and monitored this missile. The missile followed a textbook trajectory that met all the mission objectives with high levels of accuracy. Agni P is a new generation advanced variant of Agni class of missiles. It is a canisterized missile with a range capability between 1,000 and 2,000 kilometers. And here's Nandita Dagar now joining us with more on this. Nandita, important that DRDO has test fired the Agni P. So, you know, I mean, there are lots of messages, I think. Perhaps you can fill us in with the most crucial ones from this test.
Yes, I agree with you, Mark. Another milestone in the cap of, another feather in the cap of the DRDO, because we already have the Agni series of missiles. Some of them are inducted also. Many of the, all the Agni missiles have, of course, completed their trials, but this one is special because it gives more bang for the buck. How is that? That's because it is made up of composite material and being a very lightweight missile. And a missile which is launched through canisters, which means silos which can be transported easily on trucks or military vehicles, armored vehicles. So it gives operational flexibility to the commander to actually fire it from anywhere.
Yeah.
So this is the first test of this Agni Prime missile, and it has of course gone successful, as you read out. You just told our viewers this. Also the internal propulsion, that is the propulsion as well as navigation of this missile is the same as the earlier Agni missiles, which means it relies on solid fuel propulsion as well as inertial navigation system. Of course, these are technical jargon, but suffice to say that the internal technology of the missile is unchanged. It is the same as the earlier versions of Agni, and it's just that it is giving more bang for the buck. Also can be used to transport or carry a nuclear warhead. Now, which is this gives a very sort of a subtle warning to our friends and adversaries. You can call them friends, or you can call them neighbors, you can call them adversaries on our northern borders, on our western borders. For the past 1 year, you and I and our viewers know that we have been in a standoff with the Chinese PLA, and India is trying to assert its sovereignty as well as sort of signal not just to its domestic audience but also to the international audience that it is not a soft power which will be crushed in any way. So a holistic approach is being taken, not just from the Navy, Army, but also these kind of things. Just 2 days back, the DRDO also tested the Pinaka missiles with extended ranges. So constant work being done to enhance the ranges of the existing rockets and missiles. Mark?
Right. Thanks very much, Nandita, for all those inputs. Now moving on to our next story then. President Ramnath Kovind reached Lucknow today from Kanpur Central Railway Station. This is for a 2-day visit to the state capital. He will return to Delhi by a special flight tomorrow. The President earlier stopovers were at Jinjak and Rura of Kanpur Dehat in Uttar Pradesh, where 2 functions were organized to felicitate him. Yesterday, the President visited several places in his village Paronk, and this started with Patri Devi Mata temple, and he also attended a Jan Sabha in Kanpur. All religious rituals in the Amarnath Cave Shrine, they were performed virtually for devotees, and that's happening from today in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Jammu and Kashmir administration, they've decided that the annual Amarnath Yatra will be kept symbolic. No pilgrims will be allowed to visit the shrine. The Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha performed the prayers along with other priests in the holy cave shrine of Baba Barfani in the morning, and it is to be noted that the morning and the evening aartis will be telecast live for the devotees. The shrine will remain open till August the 22nd. In Rajasthan, Ajmer Sharif Dargah has reopened for devotees. This is after the state government's order. So religious places across the country were closed for devotees due to COVID-19 pandemic. Devotees were seen following protocols while offering prayers at Ajmer Sharif Dargah. Well, this is Midday Prime, and it's time now for a status check on news from the world of business. So I'm told that we are going to be joined by Tanvi for all the business news. Over to you, Tanvi. There she is. Over to you, Tanvi.
Thank you, Mark. Well, after starting Monday's session at fresh record highs, the domestic equity benchmarks were under pressure later on in the day. Mid-cap and small-cap indices, however, have continued to rally. So the Sensex at the BSE had dropped 117 points, or 0.2%, to 52,807 in afternoon deals a short while ago. And the Nifty, similarly, at the National Stock Exchange, had lost 24 points, or 0.2%, to 15,837 a little while ago. But in early trade, the Sensex had hit an all-time intraday peak of 53,126. Similarly, the Nifty had touched a lifetime intraday high of 15,916. To talk about the broader market, the BSE mid-cap index has gained 0.6%, while the small-cap index has advanced 0.5%. The top index gainers so far are Divi's Lab, ONGC, Agni Ports, and Dr. Reddy's Labs, with gains of between 1.5% and 2.2%. The top index losers are HDFC Life, TCS, Bajaj Finserv, and Titan, with losses of between 1% and 2.8%. Other key Asian markets were flattish on Monday as a spike in coronavirus cases across the region over the weekend hurt investor sentiment. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was just a shade weaker. Japan's 225 index and South Korea's Kospi index were both unchanged, while China's Shanghai Composite Index and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index had lost just 0.1% each. Back home, at the interbank foreign exchange market, the rupee had weakened 6 paise against the dollar in opening trade on Monday. Later, the rupee had depreciated just 2 paise to trade at 74 rupees 22 paise against the dollar in afternoon deals. Moving on to the multi-commodity exchange, gold had gained 173 rupees to 47,098 rupees per 10 grams. Silver had advanced 406 rupees to 68,264 rupees per kilo. Very quickly, let's tell our viewers how the global energy market is doing today. Global crude oil prices hit and then recoiled from highs last seen in October 2018 as investors eyed the outcome of this week's OPEC Plus meeting, as we know that the United States and Iran wrangle over the revival of the nuclear deal, which is delaying a surge in Iranian oil exports. So Brent crude oil had slipped 1 cent to $76.17 a barrel. US crude was up 4 cents to $74.09 a barrel. That's it in business front for the moment. Back to you, Mark.
Well, thanks very much, Tanvi, for that status check on the world of business. Let's now move our radars a little bit and pick up news from across the globe. Well, amid reports of Iran-backed U.S. Syria strikes, so the strikes of the U.S. In Syria, on Syria and Iraq, the U.S. President Joe Biden has returned to the White House now after a weekend at Camp David. Earlier on Sunday, the Pentagon, in a statement, had revealed that the U.S. had carried out these airstrikes at operational and weapons storage locations which are in Syria and in Iraq. Now, the statement did not disclose whether anyone was killed in these attacks. The strikes, they were conducted on directions of the U.S. President Joe Biden, and they targeted 2 locations in Syria and 1 in Iraq. Now, this is the second time that the U.S. President has ordered such strikes. in his 6 months in office. News from Bangladesh now. At least 7 people have died and 50 injured in an explosion in a commercial area in Mog Bazar in Dhaka last evening. Buses and cars were damaged and pedestrians on the road nearby were injured in the blast. The Dhaka Metropolitan Police Commissioner Mohammed Shafiqul Islam has said that 7 buildings were damaged in this blast. The injured have been shifted to the Dhaka Medical College Hospital and Sheikh Hasina National Institute of Burn and Plastic Surgery and other hospitals in the city. The explosion took place in this multi-story building, and well, the reason behind the blast people are still ascertaining as to what this is. It's still a matter of investigation. But police, they are suspecting a gas leak because they say that there are no clear indications of sabotage. The investigations are ongoing. Here's a quick check on how COVID-19 numbers stack up across the world. So far, more than 18 lakh people have been infected with COVID-19 cumulatively, and the recovery rate has crossed 16 crore 63 lakhs. The disease has claimed the lives of over 39,000 people globally. Well, the US, as we know, continues to be the worst affected country, has been for a long time, with more than 3 crore 44 lakh total infections, and that country's fatalities stand at more than 6 lakh 19,000 from the pandemic so far. Well, Australia's New South Wales state on Monday, they reported 18 new local cases of COVID-19 compared with 30 the day earlier. But the total infections, this is of this latest outbreak, have risen to 130 in 2 weeks since the first infection was reported. So Australia's COVID-19 response committee is due to hold an emergency meeting because of this. Their concern is to stem the possible contagion of the Delta variant in Australia. Now, Australia has limited its total cases from the beginning to just 30,450 with 910 fatalities from this pandemic. So they consider this a large number, 119. South Africa has tightened COVID-19 restrictions for 14 days in a bid to tackle the pandemic. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said that the containment measures that were already in force were insufficient to cope with the speed and scale of infections. Under the new curbs now, all gatherings are going to be prohibited. There will be a curfew from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. It will be enforced across the country. Schools will remain closed. Restaurants will only be able to provide takeaways. So tough measures being put in place in South Africa.
On the recommendation of the National Coronavirus Command Council, Cabinet has decided that the country should move to adjusted alert level 4. We will place these additional restrictions in place for the next 14 days. A curfew will be in place from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. and all non-essential establishments will need to close by 8 p.m. The sale of alcohol, both for on-site and off-site consumption, is prohibited.
Well, the third wave of COVID-19 pandemic has been ravaging across South Africa, and COVID-19 vaccination drive has been stagnant in that country for some time. Now it has registered over 19,28,000 cases of the disease and more than 59,900 fatalities so far. So you're watching Midday Prime. Let's turn our attention to news from the world of sports. And Ashok gets us all the sporting action. Over to you, Ashok.
Thank you, Mark. Let's start Sports Prime with positive news. Star Indian archer Deepika Kumari on Monday regained the #1 position in global ranking following her hat trick of gold medal at World Cup Stage 3. The 27-year-old from Ranchi, who had achieved the top spot for the first time in 2012, on Sunday claimed gold medal in 3 recurve events: women's individual, team and mixed pair. President of Archery Association of India Arjun Munda congratulated Deepika Kumari for becoming world number 1 and winning gold medal in Archery World Cup.
इस देश के समस्त लोग गौरवान्वित हैं कि आर्चरी के क्षेत्र में हमारी महिला टीम ने आज स्वर्ण पदक जीतने का गौरव हासिल किया। मैं उन लोगों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। मैं बधाई देता हूँ दीपिका और अतानु को, जिन दोनों ने गोल्ड मेडल जीतने का काम। एक दिन में दीपिका ने 2 गोल्ड मेडल हासिल किए। तो ऐसे खिलाड़ियों के माध्यम से देश का नाम रोशन होता है।
Talking about Olympics now, and big medal contender weightlifter Mirabai Chanu, the world had its first look at Mirabai Chanu at 2014 Commonwealth Games. The then 19-year-old diminutive girl from Manipur won a Commonwealth gold medal. She is ready to take the bull by the horn and win a medal at the Tokyo Olympics. If she succeeds in doing so, she can inspire a generation of athletes to take up weightlifting. Here is this more in this report.
Cyclone Mirabai Chanu was all of 12 when she ventured into the hills to collect firewood. Hailing from a poor stratum of society in the town of Nongpao Kakching, about 20 kilometers from the city of Infra in the state of Manipur, it was one of the means of livelihood for her family. On one such trip, her elder brother wasn't able to lift a bundle of firewood on his head. It was then that Mirabai Chanu, the youngest among 6 siblings, managed to lift it with much ease and walk back home some 2 kilometers away. 8 years later, that girl bagged the silver medal at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, ushering in the rise of a champion.
जो हम लकड़ी इकट्ठे करते थे तो वो किसी ने नहीं उठा पाया था, तो मैं उठा के लेके आया, तो सबने बोला थे गांव वालों सबने, तो आप बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग है, तो आपको कुछ करना चाहिए.
On the 8th of August 1994, Mirabai was born in a village called Nongpao Kakching in Manipur. By the time she was 14, and inspired by female weightlifter Kunjarani Devi, a 7-time silver medalist in the World Championships and a fellow Manipur native, Mirabai knew where her future lay.
हम 6 भाई बहन हैं, तो उन सबको देखने में बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम होती. हफ्ते में 2 दिन दूध देती थी, 1 दिन बनाना, ऐसा डाइट रोज नहीं मिला था मुझे.
After a run in the domestic circuit, Mirabai then got her opportunity at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, allowing her first taste of the international stage. Representing India in the women's 48 kg category in Glasgow, the then 20-year-old weightlifter went on to clinch silver. Expectations were high at the 2014 Asian Games held in Incheon, South Korea. She returned empty-handed, but Mirabai didn't let that disappointment linger on for long, as she returned strong to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics. The Olympic Games was, however, anything but satisfying, as the Manipuri was unable to lift in any of her 3 attempts in the clean and jerk. The failure affected the Indian in ways she didn't expect.
मेरा फर्स्ट ओलंपिक था, इसीलिए मैं थोड़ा सा नर्वस हो गई थी स्टेज में. मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा था मैं क्या करने जा रही हूँ, तो इसीलिए मैं मेडल नहीं ले पाया.
कोई भी बच्चा उस स्टेज पे जाके फेल हो जाए, वो मेडल की होप हो, तो नेचुरल है डिप्रेस होना. बट मैं ये कहता हूँ कि लड़की मीराबाई बहुत ज़्यादा बोल्ड है, बहुत ज़्यादा करेजियस है. बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगा उसे समझाने में कि हम कर सकते हैं.
A year later, she once again showed what she was capable of. At the 2017 World Weightlifting Championships in Anaheim, USA, not much was expected from the Indian contingent. But Mirabai lifted a championship record of 194 kgs to become only the second Indian after Sydney 2000 bronze medalist Karnam Malleswari to win a gold medal at the Worlds.
के बाद मैंने एक टारगेट किया था वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप 2017 एनहम का. मैंने वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप के लिए इतना मेहनत किया तो 22 इयर्स के बाद वर्ल्ड लिफ्टिंग के लिए मैंने वर्ल्ड चैंपियन हुए. 2018 कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में मैंने गोल्ड मेडल जीता और रिकॉर्ड भी किया मैंने.
The world title not only helped prove her critics wrong, but also made her a sporting sensation back home. Her achievement was duly recognized as the Indian government bestowed upon her the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, the highest sporting honor in the country, and the Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in 2018.
ओलंपिक्स के लिए तो अभी तैयारी तो अच्छा चल रहा है. अभी तक खाने पीने में काफ़ी चेंज हो गया है पहले से. अभी ऐसे इक्विपमेंट या सभी स्पोर्ट्स के लिए आप चाहते हैं वो सब अभी इधर में है.
At the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, she bagged another gold in the 48 kg category. Mirabai's journey has gone from collecting wood to precious metal, elevating the hopes of a billion-plus nation along with it. If Mirabai continues her form, India can hope to open its medal tally on the opening day of the Tokyo Games. Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
And to support our Olympians, Sports Authority of India is conducting a quiz to create awareness about Tokyo Olympic Games. You can also take part in this quiz by logging to what's visible on the screen. So that's all in Sports Prime. Back to Mark. Namaskar.
Thanks very much, Ashok, and that's all we have for you today in Midday Prime. Thank you very much for watching, but always remember that, you know, the mutant versions of this virus continue to find new ways of carrying on their existence and infecting us. So as we go on, let's get used to this idea of keeping ourselves safe and others around us with a mask until, of course, the virus is completely eradicated. So keep yourself safe and keep all those around you safe. Is the message that goes out from here. Mask up, India. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.